Ladies and gentlemen, belief is not just a word we throw around when times get hard. It's not a motivational quote you post online or a phrase you whisper before a big moment. Belief is the foundation, the invisible force that shapes everything you do, everything you think, and everything you become. Without belief, talent is silent, opportunity is meaningless, and dreams are nothing more than smoke. But when you truly believe, when you stand in conviction so deep that doubt has no room to breathe, that's when life starts to move. That's when the ordinary turns extraordinary. Think about it. Every great thing you've ever admired, every success story that inspired you began with belief. The Wright brothers didn't have wings, they had belief. Edison didn't have light, he had belief. They were told it was impossible, unrealistic, ridiculous. But they believed anyway, because belief doesn't wait for validation. Belief doesn't need applause. Belief is silent power. It's the fire that burns inside when no one else can see it. When you wake up tired, when doors close in your face, when the world says, you can't, belief says, watch me. A belief is not about confidence without reason. It's about trust. Trust in your preparation, trust in your purpose, trust that the struggle is building you into something unbreakable. When you believe in yourself, you begin to think differently. Your words change, your posture changes. You stop asking, can I? And start saying, I will. And that shift, that quiet, internal transformation is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. You see, the mind is a powerful place. Whatever you feed it, it will manifest. If you feed it fear, it will build walls. If you feed it faith, it will build doors. The difference between success and failure often isn't skill or opportunity. It's mindset. The people who rise, the ones who make history, are those who refuse to surrender their belief, no matter how dark it gets. Because belief doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you don't let doubt drive. You might feel fear, but belief keeps your hands on the wheel. There will always be moments when life tests your belief. Moments when everything seems to crumble, when your plans fall apart, when you question if it's even worth it. But that's when belief matters most. Anybody can believe when things are easy, but real belief, the kind that moves mountains, is born when everything is falling apart. It's that voice deep inside that says, I still got this. Even when the world calls you foolish for trying, when you start walking in belief, people notice. They might not understand it, but they can feel it. There's a power in someone who knows who they are, even when life tries to make them forget. That power draws opportunities, it opens doors, it shifts rooms. Because energy doesn't lie. When you believe, truly believe, you don't chase, you attract. Your confidence becomes contagious. Your focus becomes magnetic. People start to see in you what you already saw in yourself long before they believed it. Belief turns impossible into inevitable. When you believe, your actions align. You work harder, you stay longer, you sacrifice more. Not because someone told you to, but because belief doesn't rest. It pushes you when you want to quit. It whispers, keep going, when the pain gets loud. And when you finally make it, when that dream becomes reality, belief stands quietly in the background, smiling, because it knew all along. But here's the truth. Belief has to be built. It's not something you're born with. It's something you choose every single day. You build it through discipline, through failure, through persistence. You build it when you keep showing up, even when the results don't show up yet. You build it by proving to yourself that you can do hard things. Every time you overcome fear, every time you rise after a fall, every time you push through doubt, you strengthen your belief muscle. And just like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Sometimes belief means standing alone. Sometimes it means walking a road that no one else understands. But that's okay, because vision isn't meant to be seen by everyone. It's your dream, your path, your purpose. People might not see it until you bring it to life. So don't wait for others to believe in you first. Start with you. Start with that small, unshakable conviction that says, I was made for more. Because once you believe that, nothing can stop you. Belief has a way of rewriting your story. It takes the word impossible and removes the am. It turns pain into purpose, obstacles into lessons, and setbacks into setups. It makes you realize that every no you face is just guiding you to a better yes. And once that mindset takes root, once belief becomes your foundation, failure doesn't scare you anymore. Because you understand that failure is just feedback. It's not the end. It's instruction for your next move. Belief gives you vision when your eyes can't see. It allows you to walk by faith, not by sight. You don't need to know how everything will work out. You just need to know that it will. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Belief lets you take the first step in the dark. And as you climb, as you move forward, the next step reveals itself. That's the beauty of belief. It leads you through uncertainty with confidence, through fear with courage, through doubt with faith. There's something unstoppable about a person who truly believes. Because once your mind decides that quitting isn't an option, life has no choice but to give way. You'll be tested, yes. You'll stumble, yes. But belief will always pull you back up. It will remind you who you are, why you started, and what's waiting for you on the other side. And in those moments when your dream feels far away, belief becomes the bridge. It's the invisible thread that connects where you are to where you're meant to be. So don't underestimate the power of belief. It's not just motivation, it's transformation. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. Because when belief lives inside you, no storm can shake you, no failure can break you, and no voice can silence you. You'll move with purpose, act with conviction, and live with the quiet confidence that what's meant for you will find you. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you believed. Ladies and gentlemen, confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build in the trenches of struggle. It's not the loud voice that shouts, I can do it. It's the calm whisper that says, I will, after you've been knocked down again and again. True confidence doesn't come from comfort. It comes from surviving what was meant to break you. It's born in the fire, forged through pain, rejection, and perseverance. When everything falls apart and you still choose to rise, that's when confidence takes root. Because every scar tells a story, not of weakness, but of endurance. And that's what makes belief unshakable. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not pretending to have it all together. It's not about walking into a room thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about walking into that room with no need to compare yourself to anyone at all. You've already fought battles they'll never see, cried tears they'll never know, faced fears that almost froze you. And yet, here you are, that quiet strength, that calm certainty that you can handle whatever comes. That's real confidence. That's what the struggle gives you. When life tests you, and it will, those tests aren't punishment. They're preparation. The pain you feel today is shaping the person you'll need to be tomorrow. Every failure sharpens your focus. Every disappointment builds your discipline. Every setback is training your spirit to keep pushing when the path gets dark. Because confidence doesn't show up at the beginning of your journey. It shows up after the fight, after the heartbreak, after you've walked through fire and realized you're still standing. That's when you look in the mirror and see someone you can trust. You can't fake that kind of strength. You can't buy it, borrow it, or pretend to have it. You earn it through experience, through falling and getting back up one more time than you fell. The most confident people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who no longer fear failure. They understand that pain is part of the process, that every no is just a step closer to the right yes. That confidence is not about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when fear is standing right beside you. Think about the moments in your life when you grew the most. They weren't easy moments, were they? They were moments that stretched you, humbled you, maybe even broke you a little. But when the storm cleared, something in you changed. You walked differently. You spoke with more conviction. You stopped apologizing for wanting more. That's confidence. It's not built by winning all the time. It's built by surviving the times you didn't. Confidence is developed in solitude, in those long nights when you're alone with your thoughts, questioning your worth, your direction, your strength. But you push through anyway. You get up, you work, you try again. And slowly that voice of doubt gets quieter and the voice of belief gets louder. Because every time you choose discipline over doubt, action over fear, and faith over worry, you feed your confidence. And the next time the storm hits, you'll find yourself standing taller than before. Most people want confidence without the process, success without the struggle, the light without the fire. But it doesn't work that way. The struggle is what shapes you. It's what gives your success meaning. Without challenge, there is no growth. Without pressure, there are no diamonds. And without resistance, there's no strength. Confidence grows from the moments that tested you and the lessons that shaped you. Every time you made it through something you thought you couldn't, you proved to yourself that you're stronger than your circumstances. That's where true confidence begins. Not in perfection, but in persistence. And the beauty of confidence is that it changes how you move. When you know who you are and what you've been through, the opinions of others stop controlling your emotions. You stop chasing approval because you realize you've already validated yourself through your own resilience. You stop living to impress and start living to express. You walk with a certain peace because you understand that no one can take away what you've earned. You've built your confidence in the hardest seasons, and that kind of strength can't be shaken by small storms. Confidence also has this quiet power. It attracts opportunities. When you carry yourself with certainty, when you speak with clarity, when you act with purpose, the world starts to respond. People begin to trust your energy before you even open your mouth. They can sense that you've done the work, that you're not pretending. Confidence speaks without words. It's in your eyes, your posture, your presence. It's not loud, it's undeniable. But don't confuse confidence with comfort. The most confident people still feel fear, still face doubt, still question themselves. They just don't let those feelings dictate their actions. They've trained themselves to move anyway. That's the real secret. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the mastery of it. It's saying, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. Because courage is not about feeling ready. It's about taking the step when you're not. And every time you do, you reinforce that inner strength. Confidence built from struggle is unbreakable. Because when you've been through the fire and survived, you stop fearing flames. You start walking with a calm assurance that you can handle whatever comes. Life can shake you, but it can't move you off your path. You've already faced worse and come out wiser. You've already seen the bottom and climbed back up. That kind of confidence doesn't fade. It becomes part of you. You'll meet people who doubt you, who question your abilities, who try to shrink your light. Let them. Their doubt doesn't define you, your belief does. Confidence is quiet rebellion. It's choosing to rise even when the world expects you to fall. It's looking at your failures and saying, that's not where my story ends. Because you know that every step, even the painful ones, is leading you somewhere meaningful. And when that belief becomes part of your character, you stop waiting for the world to validate you. You start creating your own path. You realize you don't need to be fearless to move forward. You just need to have faith in yourself. And every time you push through fear, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you imagined. That's how confidence transforms you, not through words, but through resilience, through the quiet victories that no one sees. So, keep walking through the fire. Keep embracing the struggle. Because every test, every trial, every moment of doubt is shaping something powerful inside you. You may not see it yet, but one day you'll look back and realize that the very things you thought were breaking you were actually building you. Confidence doesn't arrive in a moment. It grows with every step, every challenge, every lesson learned. And when it finally settles into your spirit, you'll carry yourself differently. You won't need to prove anything because you'll know deep down that you've already earned everything you are. Ladies and gentlemen, confidence is not a gift, it's a result. It doesn't come from luck, talent, or wishing for better days. It comes from preparation. True confidence is built in the hours nobody sees, in the work that nobody praises, in the repetition that nobody celebrates. It's easy to look confident when the spotlight is shining, but the real confidence, the kind that lasts, is built when you're alone, putting in the effort when no one's watching. Preparation creates confidence, because when you've done the work, when you've studied the craft, when you've faced every possible challenge in practice, you walk into the moment already knowing you're ready. You don't hope for success. You expect it because you've earned it. There's a reason the most successful people in the world aren't the loudest in the room. They don't need to be. Their confidence is quiet, calm, and grounded in preparation. They've already done the work. They've already failed and learned. They've already built the foundation beneath their feet. When you prepare deeply, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You move with certainty. You speak with purpose. You act with intention. Because confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance talks. Confidence works. Preparation gives you something that nothing else can. Peace. The peace of knowing that you've done everything you could to be ready. The peace that quiets fear, because fear thrives in uncertainty. When you're unprepared, your mind fills the gaps with doubt. But when you've trained, studied, and sharpened your skills, that doubt has nowhere to live. You don't have to fake confidence. You feel it naturally. It's the quiet assurance that comes from mastery. You can't buy that. You can't fake it. You have to earn it day after day through consistency and sacrifice. Most people want confidence at the finish line, but don't want to put in the hours at the starting block. They want the reward without the routine, the victory without the grind. But that's not how greatness works. Confidence is built in the boring moments, in the repetition, in the discipline, in the small daily habits that no one applauds. Every rep, every note, every late night of study, every early morning of work, that's where confidence is forged. Because when the big moment comes and the world is watching, your preparation takes over. You don't have to think, you just perform. And that's when people call you talented. But what they're really seeing is years of preparation turned into effortless confidence. You can always tell the difference between someone who's prepared and someone who's not. The unprepared move with anxiety, the prepared move with ease. The unprepared doubt, the prepared trust themselves. Preparation eliminates hesitation. It replaces fear with focus. It gives you control in situations where others panic. That's why preparation is power. It gives you something solid to stand on when everything else feels uncertain. When you look at the greats in sports, in art, in business, in life, they all share one thing in common: obsession with preparation. They rehearse, refine, and repeat until perfection becomes instinct. They understand that confidence isn't something you turn on in the moment. It's something you build long before the moment arrives. The speech that moves a room, the performance that leaves people speechless, the decision that changes a career, none of that happens by accident. It happens because someone prepared so deeply that success became inevitable. Preparation is respect. Respect for your craft, for your audience, and for yourself. When you prepare, you're saying, "This matters. I'm not leaving it to chance." And that mindset transforms everything. You stop hoping and start creating. You stop guessing and start knowing. You stop fearing the outcome and start owning the process. Because when you focus on preparation, success becomes a byproduct. You stop chasing the reward and start mastering the work. But here's the truth. Preparation isn't glamorous. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's full of moments when you question if it's even worth it. You'll have to say no to comfort, to distraction, to instant gratification. You'll have to work when others rest. You'll have to study when others scroll. You'll have to stay disciplined when motivation fades. But every ounce of effort you invest in preparation is a deposit in your confidence. And when the day comes to perform, those deposits pay off. You walk in calm, composed, unshaken, because you know you've earned your readiness. Confidence without preparation is fragile. It crumbles under pressure. But confidence built through preparation is unbreakable. It doesn't depend on external validation. It doesn't disappear when the crowd is gone. It lives inside you, rooted in your work ethic. That's why the truly confident don't need to prove anything. Their preparation speaks for them. Every move, every word, every decision carries weight because it's backed by substance, not show. You can't wait for the right moment to prepare. Preparation creates the right moment. Life rewards those who stay ready. Because opportunity doesn't knock twice, it moves fast. And when it comes, it's not the smartest or the most talented who rise. It's the most prepared. They're the ones who've been training in silence, waiting for their moment, knowing that when it arrives, they won't need luck. They'll be ready. Preparation teaches humility. It reminds you that greatness isn't a destination. It's a daily practice. It keeps you grounded, disciplined, hungry. It turns someday into today. It gives you structure when motivation fades. And most importantly, it builds trust in yourself. Because when you prepare deeply, you stop wondering if you can. You start knowing you can. That knowing is the essence of real confidence. So when you're tired, when you're tempted to cut corners, when no one's watching, remember, that's where your confidence is being built. Every small act of effort compounds. Every bit of discipline sharpens you. Every day you stay committed adds another layer to your foundation. And one day, when the world finally sees you shine, they'll call it talent, they'll call it luck. But you'll know the truth. It was preparation all along. Confidence doesn't happen overnight. It grows slowly, quietly, through repetition and resilience. You might not see it right away, but every bit of preparation adds to your power. Every time you practice, every time you study, every time you refine, you're building something invisible but unstoppable. And when the time comes to deliver, when the lights turn on and all eyes are on you, you won't have to fake confidence. You'll feel it in your bones because you've already been there in your mind 1,000 times before. So never underestimate the power of preparation. It's the bridge between dreams and reality, between fear and faith, between wishing and winning. When you prepare with purpose, you silence doubt before it speaks. You carry yourself differently. You move with certainty. You stop waiting for confidence to appear, because through your preparation, you've already created it. The world will always reflect what you believe you deserve. Life has a strange way of mirroring your mindset, of giving you not what you wish for, but what you expect. If you walk through life believing you're not enough, opportunities will pass you by because your energy says you're not ready to receive them. But when you carry yourself with quiet certainty, when you believe in your worth, doors begin to open, people begin to notice, and the universe starts to move in your favor. It's not magic, it's alignment. The outer world responds to the inner one. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. Every thought, every belief, every word you repeat to yourself builds the foundation of your reality. If your mind is filled with doubt, your life will echo it. If your heart is filled with faith, the world will rise to meet it. Most people don't realize that their limitations aren't external, they're internal. They aren't trapped by their circumstances, they're trapped by their beliefs about those circumstances. The moment you shift your belief, your situation starts to change. It doesn't happen all at once, but like dawn breaking through the darkness, little by little, your world begins to glow with new possibilities. Confidence isn't just about how you speak or how you move. It's about what you believe you're worthy of. You can't attract abundance while secretly believing you don't deserve it. You can't hold on to success if deep down you think you're not enough. The world gives you what you think you deserve, not what you desire. That's why the first step to changing your life isn't outside. It's inside. You have to believe you are worthy of the good things you're chasing. You have to act as if it's already yours, not out of arrogance, but out of faith. Because belief isn't pretending, it's preparing. It's saying, I may not have it yet, but I'm becoming the person who can handle it. There's a power in self-perception. The way you see yourself sets the tone for how others see you. If you see yourself as small, you'll move small, speak small, live small. But when you see yourself as capable, strong, deserving, your energy shifts. You stop shrinking to fit in. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You start taking up the space you were always meant to occupy. And that confidence, that belief, changes how people respond to you. Because energy is contagious. When you walk with belief, people can feel it before you even say a word. But belief doesn't come overnight. You have to reprogram the voice inside your head, the one that keeps telling you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. That voice has been built by years of doubt, rejection, and fear. You have to confront it, challenge it, replace it. Start telling yourself a new story. Because the story you tell yourself becomes the life you live. If you keep saying, I can't, then you won't. If you start saying, I will, then you will. Words are seeds and your mind is fertile ground. Whatever you plant, it will grow. When you change your belief, your standard change too. You stop settling for less because you know what you're worth. You stop tolerating negativity because you know peace is priceless. You stop chasing validation because you've already given yourself permission to be great. And that's when life starts to elevate. Because belief doesn't just change how you think, it changes how you act. And your actions create your reality. It's not enough to wish for better. You have to believe you deserve better. There's a difference between wanting success and believing you can achieve it. Wanting keeps you dreaming, but belief pushes you to act. It gives you the courage to take risks, to face failure, to keep going when others give up. Because belief gives you strength. When you believe you deserve greatness, you stop seeing failure as proof of inadequacy and start seeing it as part of growth. You stop taking rejection personally and start taking it as redirection. You understand that what's meant for you will always find its way, but only when you believe you're ready to receive it. The world has a way of testing your belief. It'll challenge you, stretch you, knock you down, and ask, do you still believe? Because belief that's untested isn't belief. It's convenience. Real belief holds steady when the evidence says otherwise. It's faith in motion, courage under pressure. When everything falls apart and you still say, I know this isn't the end. That's power. Because the universe listens to that kind of certainty. It bends in the direction of conviction. It rearranges itself for the one who refuses to give up. There will be people who doubt you, who don't see what you see. That's okay. They don't have to. They can't see your vision because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Don't waste energy trying to convince them. Just keep believing, keep building, keep moving. Because when your belief is strong enough, it speaks louder than words. Your results will become your proof. Your growth will silence their doubt. Your success will echo your belief. Too often we let our environment shape our beliefs. We believe we can't succeed because no one around us has. We believe we can't be happy because we've known only struggle. But every great change begins with one person daring to believe differently. Be that person. Be the one who breaks the pattern, who chooses faith over fear, vision over limitation. When you start to believe you deserve more, you give permission for others to believe the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your light becomes a guide. Belief is a declaration to the universe. I'm ready. Ready for growth, for challenge, for greatness. But belief without action is just wishful thinking. When you believe you deserve more, you act differently. You prepare, you show up, you invest in yourself. You stop waiting for the perfect time and start creating it, because belief without effort is empty, and effort without belief is blind. But when belief and effort unite, that's when transformation happens. That's when reality bends. That's when dreams start to breathe. So if you're not happy with what life is giving you, look inward. What are you believing about yourself, about your worth, your potential, your future? Because your life will always rise to meet the level of your self-belief. If you want to change the outcome, change the inner dialogue. Stop saying, maybe it's not meant for me, and start saying, it's already mine. I just have to become the person who can hold it. That's the shift that changes everything. When you believe in your worth, you no longer chase, you attract, you no longer doubt, you decide, you no longer wait, you work. And slowly but surely life responds. The opportunities come, the people align, the right doors open. Because belief is magnetic. It draws to you what matches your energy. So carry belief like armor. Walk with it like truth. And watch how the world begins to mirror the greatness you've always had within you. Ladies and gentlemen, every dream begins with a belief, a quiet, invisible conviction that whispers, "It's possible." Every success story, every legend, every breakthrough the world has ever seen started not with money, not with connections, not even with talent, but with belief. Because belief is the seed that gives birth to action, and action gives birth to reality. Dreams don't become real because someone got lucky. They become real because someone refused to stop believing when everyone else gave up. That's the power that separates those who wish from those who achieve. Belief is not just an idea, it's a force. It's something that changes the chemistry of your body, the rhythm of your mind, the direction of your life. When you truly believe in something, it changes how you move. You wake up differently, you speak differently, you think differently. The fire inside you burns brighter than the doubt outside you. You stop asking for permission and start moving with purpose. Because belief gives you clarity. It tells you, this is who I am and this is where I'm going. But belief doesn't come easy. It's not something you pick up on a good day and drop when things get hard. True belief is tested by failure, by delay, by disappointment, by silence. There will be times when it feels like nothing is happening, when every step forward feels like 2 steps back. Those moments aren't punishment, they're preparation. Life is asking, do you still believe when it's dark? Do you still believe when nobody claps? Do you still believe when you can't see the way forward? Because belief that only survives in comfort isn't real belief. It's convenience. The real kind of belief, the kind that moves mountains, is built in the dark, when no one's watching, when you keep going simply because your soul won't let you quit. Every person who's ever achieved something extraordinary had to fight through doubt. Not just the world's doubt, but their own. They had to silence the voice inside that said, "You're not ready. You're not enough. You'll never make it." They had to replace that voice with one that said, "Keep going. You were born for this." And that's what belief really is. Not the absence of doubt, but the courage to move forward in spite of it. Belief doesn't eliminate fear. It gives you strength to walk with it. It turns "I hope" into "I know," and that shift changes everything. When you believe, your actions align with your vision. You start showing up even when you're tired. You keep working even when the results aren't there yet. You build momentum brick by brick, step by step, and soon the impossible starts to look inevitable. Because belief fuels consistency, and consistency builds reality. The dream that once lived only in your mind starts to take shape in the world, not because it suddenly became easier, but because you refused to give up when it was hard. There's a saying, you have to see it before you see it. That's belief. You have to see it in your mind before the world sees it in you. You have to visualize the life you want, the person you want to become, and then act as if it's already true. Not pretending, but preparing. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It will build what you believe. And the moment your inner world becomes stronger than your outer one, that's when things begin to shift. Belief is contagious. When you carry conviction, people feel it. They might not understand it, but they can sense it. They start to trust your energy before they trust your words. That's how leaders inspire. They don't just tell people what's possible. They make people feel it's possible. That's the difference between a dreamer and a believer. The dreamer hopes it will happen. The believer knows it will, and that knowing inspires others to believe too. Belief also transforms how you see failure. When you truly believe, failure stops being the end. It becomes feedback. It becomes part of the journey, not the reason to stop. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. Because belief gives you the ability to see beyond the moment. You realize that the detour might be part of the plan, that the delay might be protection, that the pain might be shaping you for something greater. And once you understand that, you stop fearing failure altogether. You learn to embrace it, to learn from it, to rise because of it. Every legend you admire once stood where you are, uncertain, scared, full of doubt. But what separated them was their decision to keep believing. They believed before anyone else did. They believed when the evidence said no. They believed when everyone told them to quit. And because they believed long enough, the world eventually caught up to their vision. That's the beauty of belief. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the world around you. Because when you hold belief long enough, it becomes undeniable. Belief also demands responsibility. When you believe you're destined for something great, you can't live carelessly. You have to back that belief with discipline, with integrity, with effort. Belief without work is delusion, but belief with effort, that's transformation. Every time you take action toward your vision, you prove your belief to yourself. You tell your subconscious, I'm serious about this. And with every small victory, your confidence grows stronger, your purpose grows clearer, and your dream grows closer. You will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. There will be days when it feels like you're moving in circles. But that's where belief comes in. It keeps you anchored. It reminds you that progress doesn't always look like movement. Sometimes the work happening inside, the growth, the resilience, the patience, is the real progress. Belief is what keeps you steady when life feels uncertain. It's what makes you get up every time you fall. It's what turns persistence into destiny. And one day, when you finally stand where you always dreamed of standing, when the world finally sees what you saw all along, you'll realize it wasn't the talent or the luck or the timing that got you there. It was belief. It was the decision to keep showing up, to keep fighting, to keep trusting the process even when you couldn't see the results. That's the quiet truth behind every success story. Belief came first. So never underestimate the power of believing in yourself. When belief lives in your heart and effort lives in your hands, there's nothing you can't build. The dream in your mind isn't there by accident. It was planted for a reason. And belief is the water that makes it grow. Keep watering it. Keep believing even when the soil looks dry, even when nothing seems to sprout. Because one day, all that unseen growth will break through the surface, and the world will call it a miracle. But you'll know it wasn't a miracle. It was belief transformed into reality. One day, one step, one act of faith at a time.